Yep. All right, guys, we are live finally with our Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 9 after show. My name is Matt. The guy above me is Dan.
That's me. I'm Dan. And over there is Tim.
Ta-da! I'm Tim.
I think I'm pointing right.
And under Tim is nobody. We had a...
Is the actual Nerd Punch channel. It's everyone involved. They're all
That's
on
right.
the one channel.
So Opie and Dave couldn't be with us tonight, so Tim is joining us again, and we don't have a fourth, so you just get to look at our fabulous logo that took me forever to make.
Well, you should put my video down there too, and I can be both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Although we do have
Enough
Opie in the
meaningful.
chat, so hey, Opie, how's it going, man?
There's Oppie in the chat. Hi, Oppie.
So I'll say this for Opie's benefit and for everybody else's. We are talking about Episode 9, and there will be spoilers, lots of spoilers this time, so definitely, if
There
you
will be
haven't watched
blood.
the episode yet, pause this, go watch it, come back, you'll be glad you did. But so, before we get into each one, guys, or before we get into each thing that happened, all I'm going to say is things happened this time.
Dude, I want to say one thing.
Do it.
Going into this, when this episode started playing, I was like, man, yeah, so this is going to be a drawn-out, blah, blah. We got to watch story stuff, because last episode we watched this epic battle
Right.
with the walkers. This episode is going to be But, as we find out and we'll talk about later, that is not the case.
You know, it kills me that everybody gets all mad because it's talking. That's the point of the show. There's a lot of talking.
Well, it's not.
No, I don't mean that.
builds
I just,
drama.
I wasn't expecting any good action like we had last
What
week.
Tim means is after the epic last half hour of what was last week's episode, he thought it was gonna go back to much more subdued. Hey, we're just
we
sitting
got to
around.
learn more story. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
But that didn't
That's-
happen. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, and we will get there for sure. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say the last sequence of this episode was well, shoot, I was going to say it was the second best of any after last week's, but I don't know. Because there's been a lot of crazy. Last week's was definitely, I think, the best sequence that we've had in these 5 seasons so far. But this one was still
this
up
episode
there.
definitely had tear jerkers. It had, the whole gambit of emotions through the whole episode. So it was good.
Right.
Let's get started on it.
Yeah,
I had
Dan, run us through
Matt
it.
and Tim hold me during most of the episode because I was so upset and crying. And
We
everything.
reached
I was
out and
just-
said, "Oh, we just held hands."
So we're ready to do the thing with the stuff on it?
No way. Opie's saying they jumped the shark, and I don't know if he's joking or not.
I don't know what he's talking about. Opie doesn't understand what Game of
Dragon.
Thrones is. He thinks it's Harry Potter we're watching.
They totally ripped off.
Well, Opie, another World of Warcraft ripoff we'll talk about later.
Right.
The old flying mountain.
Right.
So let's see. Let's get into this.
Yes.
Oh, I wrote army. I couldn't read my handwriting. So we start off with Stannis and his army out in the cold, freezing their butts off, and Melisandre comes walking out with her little lantern, and all of a sudden everything catches ablaze and is burning to the ground. And old Ramsay and his 20 dudes got in there and set everything afire.
Yep.
And
Greyjoy's 20 men.
Yep. He got over there and burned it all down, burnt down all their food, their supplies, killed hundreds of guys, killed tons of horses, kind of left Stannis in a bad spot. And from this point on, it is like straight up foreshadowing what's going to happen a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious. But he's talking to Davos. Davos is like, hey, no, we need to get out of here. I keep telling you we need to leave. You're not listening. Melisandre standing over there with Selyse and just kind of staring there like, hey, we could do something, make this work better, but that'll come up later.
Yeah. So I liked this that last week when Ramsey said all I need is 20 dudes and we can do this. I was like, man, 20 guys? I mean, what are you going to do with 20 guys? Well, apparently they're going to burn half of Stannis' army to the ground, which is 20 guys. The only thing is, I would have liked to have seen that. If Ramsey can do this much damage with 20 guys, I would have liked to have seen that. But at the same time, I guess that the way they explain that, and the way they made it okay for us not to have seen it, is that they said, these guys from the north, they know the land way better than we do. So I guess we're just supposed to assume that they just know their way around and they know secret passages and whatever.
Well, not just that. They just can handle themselves in the cold. They
Well,
fought
yeah,
in
this
the cold. They
yeah,
move through the cold. They move through the snow. They just know the area better. It's their land, so you're always going to have an advantage. So
okay, Dan, sorry.
they just know. Okay, get over it.
I'm sorry. Jeez.
So we go on. We get to
Ramsey Seals.
John and the wildlings. They get back to the wall with a lot less wildlings than they thought they were going to bring. Alistair Thorne, I think is his name, standing up there, and there's the big stare down of John and Alistair kind of staring each other down, and finally
that's why he
opens
was
the
getting
door.
a look? You think he was getting a look because he didn't bring as many to help him fight?
No, he was.
No.
He was getting
getting
the look
because he was like, this is a whole lot of wildlings.
No, I think it's because John wasn't 100% sure that he was going to to open the gate.
Exactly.
No. I know that's why John was giving that look, but the other guy. What do you think?
No. There's a lot of.
I think he was trying to decide if he was going to open the gate for him or not.
Exactly.
You know?
Okay.
If he was going to let him through, because the wildlings do not, or the Night's Watch do not like the wildlings.
Right.
So Alistair lets him through. They come on walking through. John's standing there with Sam, and John's like, "We failed miserably." And Sam's like, "Well, you didn't fail that person, or her, or him, or her." And he's like, "Well, I get that, Sam. Shut up." And, and Alistair comes by. He's like, and just kind of tells him, like, "You got a big heart, John. And that's probably not a good thing."
And we're all going to die because of it.
Yep, we're all going to die because of you having a big heart.
So what I really wanted out of that scene, and we might get it next week, but I really wanted a big discussion between John and Alistair. I wanted John to explain, listen, I know you guys hate the wildlings, but we just nearly got our asses handed to us all from the White Walkers. We have no choice but to let them all in, or else we're all going to die. I mean, I just wanted that conversation. I wanted John to tell everybody what they had just gone through, so that everybody would be on board with John. Because
listen, John doesn't tell anything with a straight tooth. He freaking told the wildlings, like, I shot him in the heart. It didn't give any substance to the whole thing. He's just like, I killed him. John's kind of just this is what I did. Go with it. It's like, yeah, but there's a lot of story around that, John.
we might get more of that next week.
Okay. We go back to Stannis and Davos. They're talking. Stannis is like, Davos, I'm sending you back to the wall. I need you to get food, supplies, men, blah, blah. You tell the Night's Watch. They send this stuff down. I'll take care of them once I'm king. They don't have to worry about anything. I'll make him Lord Commander of all the castles on the wall, blah, blah, blah. Davos is like, why are you sending me? You can send somebody else. It's pretty much foreshadowing to something that they don't want Davos to see.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Goes to Stannis' men, cold and starving, eating some food. Selyse is still talking. Shireen's in her room, just reading the Dance of Dragons, and in comes Davos, and he's like, "Hey, let me check out your book," and just kind of be like, "I know what's going to happen to you, and I'm really sad," and really obviously giving away what's going to happen to you.
Well, see, I wrote down a note, and I thought I was being clever because at the time I thought I'm really smart because I figured out why he sent Davos away. So I wrote down a note and it said Stannis is sending Davos away so he can make smoke babies using Shireen's corpse.
Right.
And I was like, I'm really smart because I know why he's sending Davos away.
Dude, I knew this was coming from the first time.
But apparently, it's just really obvious why Davos is going because he would have done something,
right?
And so, I'll talk about that when we get to that part. But yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Davos would have definitely stepped in had he not sent him away.
Yes. And Davos is like, or he's just talking to her, thanks her for teaching him to read, makes her a little toy, and she's asking why and all this stuff. And he's pretty much saying goodbye to a great friend. It's so just foreshadowing, so big. He's like crying on her shoulder. He's like,
Pretty much the only one in the world who doesn't know what's going to happen is Shireen herself.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But she's a kid. So it goes through there, it goes to Jamie, is brought before the prince, Prince Doran. Asked, why'd you have to sneak into my gardens? You probably could have just shown up and we would have helped you if this was such a big deal. If you needed Marcella that bad, we would have, what's going on? Why are you here? Why'd you sneak in? Jamie explains. Doran's playing the political game. He's being really nice. Iliara, I think is her name, is being a straight up jerk the whole time.
She's being
It just,
trifling.
yeah, I was waiting for a part that happens later because she's just getting way too big for her britches so much right there. And he's the prince and she's nobody, pretty much. She was never married to Oberon, so.
Now, remind me of
Straight
the
up
relationship
disrespect
between her and Oberon.
She's just a woman that he loved. I don't think they were ever married.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have children together and they've just been together.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah. Goes there and Prince Tristan and Marcella come in and Doran kind of drops the bomb like they're going to go to King's Landing with you. I want Tristan on the small council since you were going to make Oberyn be there, so I'd like Tristan to do it. And then they ask him about Bronn in the prisons, and Tristan gets to make a decision, and he's like, I show mercy like my father, Doran, but under one catch to that. And then we go down to the prisons, and you have the Sand Snake sitting in their jail cell playing the slap game, which was so awesome. So she's slapping her hands and everything, just going off, and she's just like, you're thinking about it too much, you're going to miss. You're going to miss. Makes her miss, and it just slaps the crap out of her.
Slaps her in the face.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not missing. It goes to Bronn, he's being let out. He goes upstairs, says who he is, he's Knight of the Blackwater. It just gets jacked in the face for his one caveat.
Which I didn't catch on. So he got hit in the face, and then the scene cut away. I was like, wait a minute, what was the condition?
That was the
But
condition.
it was he would get hit in the face.
Because he punched Prince Tristan in the face.
Right.
So back to that. It jumps from there. We go to...
Well, don't forget to mention too about when they were talking about why did you have to sneak in, and Jamie mentioned that they received a threatening message. They got what's the niece's name?
Which niece?
Which one? The one that they went there to save.
Oh, Marcella?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They received her necklace in the mouth of a viper.
Correct, and I don't think Prince
necklace
Doran knew of that. He had no idea.
But I love that when he found out, he knew exactly who sent it.
Oh yeah, he looks right at her, just like, yeah, okay,
No doubt about that.
yeah. So you go from there, you go to Arya. She's playing Lena, going down the dock, selling her clams. Some guys won some of her other clan.
This is awful. That's just awful.
This is just wrong. She's going to do what she's supposed to be doing, and she sees someone that perks her interest, and it's Meryn Trent, the knight that cut her father's head off.
Thank you.
Or was part of that, yeah. And
Because so when I wrote down a note that says, "What is Arya doing?" Because I couldn't. I thought she was nervous at first because she saw what's his nuts Tyrell.
no, I don't think she's ever seen him.
And I thought that's what it was, and she was like, "Oh crap, this guy knows who I am."
Right.
Which
It's
doesn't make any sense because I don't think he's ever seen her. But that's the only thing I got at first. But
yeah. So Lord Tyrell's doing his thing, but Meryn Trent is there, and that's who she's really wanting to watch. And we find out that Meryn Trent is pretty much a sick jerk for his taste in the brothel. But Arya, I wrote down, Arya just kind of not even caring about hiding. Just straight up like, I'm going to kill you. I've given up everything I've trained at this point. I'm straight up going to... I want to kill this guy, and not even trying to hide or just make an effort to not be seen.
Yeah, he obviously thinks that she looks familiar, but do you think he made the connection?
I don't think so.
I think he would have said something if he made the connection.
I think he's still trying to figure if it's her or not. He doesn't know that.
Right.
I thought that he didn't make the connection when he saw her in the street, but I thought that he did when he saw her in the brothel.
If he would have, he
think
would
he
have
would've
jumped
said
her right
something.
there.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
He would have done it. He would have bumped her. But yeah, so she gets run out, and that's kind of where she goes back to the house of the many faces, many face god, and she kind of is doing the job of being all secretive and playing the many face person because she tricks what's his name? Jaqen Hagar. Yeah, Jaqen Hagar.
Not gonna work here anymore anyway.
She kind of tricks him and lies to him. Whether that lie slipped through or not, we don't know. But
I don't think he bought it. Then
He may
that
not.
was one of the bits at the end when they were talking about the behind the scenes stuff, and the question is, did she sell the lie or not? I don't think she did. I think he knows.
Gotcha.
But I love that.
Could.
One of my favorite lines. She said, "The thin man wasn't hungry. Well, perhaps that's why a man is thin."
Yeah.
I just thought that was clever. Good one, Jockin. Jockin,
Yeah.
he's got jokes.
He is a man. He is not jocking. That's just one of his many faces.
Right,
He's
he is a man.
I am a man. A man does not, Come on, Matt. You're not even learning anything from the House of Black and White. Jeez,
Opie
why don't you
says
take me there?
that what's his face did not make the connection that she was Arya.
Well, Opie doesn't understand stuff. So we go back to Dorn, and then we can make fun of you Opie because you're not here. Super awesome. We go back to Dorn, and Dorn's pretty much sitting there and makes Ilaria kneel and say, "You will follow me or you will die. You make that decision right now."
Kneel before Zod.
And that's pretty much it. It's like I'm done with your crap right now. You and your vipers, your sand snakes, all you go home now.
Make
None
a
of you-
decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm going to kill you if you don't stop what you're doing right now. And she kind of breaks down and is like, okay, yeah, he's the prince. I have to do what he says.
Now, when she was okay, so let me ask you this: when she kissed the ring and she started just bawling her eyes out, was she sad because she was having to bow down to him when she still doesn't agree with him over what happened to Oberon, or was she more happy that he gave her a second chance, or what was her? Why was she
is
crying there? Why do you think?
I think all of this hatred that is built because Oberon is dead. She's trying every which way to hold on to his, and by threatening these people and trying to start a war and all this stuff. And there's nothing she can do. And I think it's just a pretty much mental breakdown when he pretty much tells her, it's like, this is your second chance. You will bow or you will die. And that is it.
Yeah, I
And
think
she
it was
kind
a
of,
combination.
just the whole emotional thing just hits her, and she's just like, I can't do anything. I can't get anything done.
I think it was also partially the realization that not only could she not do anything, but she's having to bear it all in front of these daughters.
Yeah.
That look up to her as their leader.
That's
Yeah.
true, because
And
they
it
did
was
kind of
a
look
whole
at
lot of-
her sort of in disgust a little.
Right.
Or
One of them's their daughter.
yeah,
Right.
but I mean, not really disgust, I guess, but they were just kind of like, God, I can't believe
Disappointment.
she's doing that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Right, because she's supposed to be leading them in this rebellion or whatever.
Funny
but-
thing is, if they were in the same position, they'd do the exact same thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Every
they're all
single one of them.
survivors.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it goes back to Jamie. He's in the room knitting with
What?
his office. I'm just kidding. That was a joke, man. In comes Illyria. She wants to talk to him a little bit, and she kind of pretty much tells him, like, I know why you're here and why you're doing this. I know who you want to get back to. And
God, even she knows about Jamie, and
everybody does. It's like Sir Loris.
Even-
Everyone knows he's gay. but
even
nobody's doing
away
anything
in the
about it.
south, and they, as far south as Dorne, and even they know about Cersei and Jamie.
Yeah.
Worst
they kinda
kept
have that
secret
discussion.
ever.
Yeah. So they kind of talk about Cersei, and she kind of tells it's hard. She knows that the girl did not have anything to do with this, and she doesn't think Jamie had a hand in it either. Hand in it. Boom.
Maybe he did. That's how he lost it.
That's true.
He's been saving that one for months, folks.
So we go back to...
Wait, let me and something else. I didn't. I meant to write this down, but I didn't realize that that Dorne was under the king of. Well, I guess because it is part of Westeros. But,
Okay, so-
but basically, when he said, my king Tommen, I didn't realize that they were
Right.
underneath that. I thought they were off on their own.
You're about to get Dan lore history nerd
Here we
days
go.
pop out. It's about to
Okay,
happen.
hold on. Wait, go ahead.
So in Westeros, it's called the Seven Kingdoms. It took a very long time before Dorne became part of that kingdom, and there were set stipulations of why they became part of that in the first place. When Aegon conquered all of Westeros in the first place, he could not break Dorne ever. That's why their banner is unbowed, unbent, unbroken. That's their slogan, because they never fell or followed the king. There are some battles, I think, later on, and when Dorne may have fallen later on, but this is after the First War, and there's some more story behind that, with one of Aegon's sister getting killed and some other stuff happening, and they're coming to Westeros and they're like, hey, we will we'll follow suit and we'll hang out with you guys, but we're not going to bend our knee to you. You're not the boss of us, but we will play nice. And Aegon's like, no. And then someone whispers something to him and he leaves for a day, comes back, he's like, he agrees to their terms and all is good. And that's it. So whether Dorne ever fell under policy of Westeros or not, it's still up in the air. And some people think, and it's a theory, that Dorne through all these years has secretly been planning this whole thing out to destroy the Targaryen family and to take over Westeros. So there's a huge underlining here. So a lot of secret stuff going on. Okay. So there you go. Nerd hat off. Boop.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank goodness. Got a little too nerdy in here for me, for my taste.
So you go back to Stannis talking to his daughter. Like, listen, sometimes a man has to do things that he doesn't want to do.
And then that scene was over. And then anyway, next was...
and he's trying to justify what he's about to do, which is burn his daughter at the stake. And let Melisandre kill her. And the thing here is that, again, and they say it after the episode, that Stannis is a person that once he makes a decision, he does that. That is how he is. Yeah. He is stern. He stays with what he says, well, no matter what it is. But you can see the breakdown of his wife, who's been by his side the whole time. And then when she actually, like, it drops the whole veil of, we're doing this for the greater good. It's like, whoa, that's my daughter we're about to burn. Right. She kind of comes running out and wanting to stop it. And, yeah, Shireen gets
This
burned.
scene is full of emotions, and it's good acting, and it's real, and it was good.
Well, her screams. I mean, obviously we don't see anything. We just see her get tied to but we don't see any real her. We don't see her burning at all. But Correct. Good Lord, her screams were just terrifying. Now, so let's talk about this for a second.
No.
Could they? Okay, so what was the? Okay, so just bear with me because I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
What was the point of burning her at the stake?
The king's blood sacrificed to the god.
To the sun god.
It had to be the king's blood.
Has to be king's blood.
Okay, so but I know that part. But and they even showed this in the flashback at the beginning when they had Gondry. Couple seasons back, they just put leeches on him and got some of his blood,
and that helped Stannis a little bit. It didn't help him all the way. So I guess the more they sacrifice of royal blood to the sun or the one true god, the better favor Stannis's army will be in. So they saw a small portion of that when they took a little of Gendry's blood.
Gendry, not Gondry. Gendry. Yeah, thank you.
They take a little bit of Gendry's and
burn the leeches.
And they got a little bit of help. They know that the more royal blood they sacrifice to the sun god or the one god, they will get more power and more favor, and that way they can win this battle.
So when they got Gendry's blood, that's when Melisandre gave birth to the smoke baby, right?
No, Stannis had sex with her.
Oh, that's right.
Seeing his child, which made the smoke monster.
Okay, that's where I was. And sorry, guys, I know I sound completely stupid. It was so long ago, though, and I don't even remember what happened. 10 minutes ago. But
doing that, he won the battle over Renly. Doing Gendry's blood, I think he wins the battle at the Blackwater or at the Wall, and then now he's using more royal blood to win another battle, and that's why he does that.
Now I'm with you.
Yeah.
Now I'm with you.
So the more blood they sacrifice, the more he becomes prosperous, I guess is the way to put it.
Couldn't he have just had sex with Melisandre like a lot? Instead and had all that, just had like a bunch of smoke babies rather than freaking burn his own daughter. I mean,
that's emotional.
So
that was a tough scene to watch, especially because she was such a sweet girl, and they were really kind of cheesing up a little bit, really making her extra sweet, Oh, I'm reading the Book of the Dragons. Haha, this is awesome. But God, that was just, and her screaming. Ugh.
It was not good.
All right, so the next scene.
All right, so we go on.
So that happened.
Tim's just like, okay, yeah. Anyway,
we're good.
So we get to the Great Fighting Pits of Marine. There's a lot to say on this that I have to say about this too. There's a lot of good information here. Dany, Missandei, Tyrion, Dario, Zolorok, whatever his name is. Never really cared about that. They're all sitting there. They're there for the fighting pits. They start bringing people out. the guy who's going to be king, I'm not even going to try his name again. The Great Family Guy. That's all I'm going to say. Great Family Guy. He comes out. He sits down like, where you been? Oh, I've been setting something up. Well, we wonder. Comes in, sits down with them, does all their stuff, tells her to clap because the battles are about to start. He goes into it, shows the first match. But what's good here is that you have a good conversation where Dario is kind of trying to say, I think it's a little bit of a jealousy, the guy who's going to marry Danny, and he's sleeping with Danny, and he's trying to pop in. He's like, yeah, I was good with the little guy. Little guy's way better. And the other guy's like, no, they're both good fighters, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, dude gets his head chopped off. Dario's kind of like, oh, little guy.
Well, yeah, it was a little guy who got his head cut off, even though Dario said the little guy was going to win. So
Right. So they go to the next fight, and the next fight brings out someone that we've all seen. Jorah Mormont is there to battle, and we knew he was coming to this because he had won. So Tyrion's there, and he's kind of like, you don't have to let this go through. You don't have to do this. And then the other guy's like, yes, you do. We have to keep the fighting pits going. She starts the fight. They're all battling. She's trying to stay true to her word. They keep fighting. Jorah's almost at a point of dying, but luckily he gets out of it. Jorah kills the last man, so it's just Jorah standing there. And all of a sudden, Jordan throws a spear right at the queen. Everybody's like, what? But before we get to that, I want to talk about Tyrion talking to the other gentleman there.
Yeah.
So Tyrion's telling him, is like, you don't have to do any of this. You know, you don't have to. Yes, it'll look kind of bad, but you don't have to. The other gentleman is saying, yes, she has to, because we have to have this kind of who's right and who's wrong. These guys out here want to die for you. What makes them wrong and you right? I mean, are they stupid? Are you stupid? You know, kind of that whole thing back and forth. And that's the truth of it. When it plays politics, you don't know who's right and wrong. Everybody's has an opinion. So that'll play in more into what I have to say later. But watch the fight. Jorah kills the guy with the spear. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
No,
it was Matt.
Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I thought Jorah fighting in this. I thought it was not the Jorah that we saw fight. I think it was last week. I mean, he was getting his ass beat. I thought he was he just seemed like it almost felt to me like he wanted to die, like he wasn't really trying as hard as he could, because he's supposed to be this great warrior, right?
Well, he was
getting the crap
He's
kicked out
tried
of him.
3 times to get in her good favor. Each time twice she's thrown him out of the city. Third time she starts the fight on him. He has got grayscale, so he is sick. He's got some disease that's messing with him. So yes, he's not going to be as good. He's older now, so he is not a great fighter like what's his face that died earlier with was fighting with Grey Worm.
Sir Barristan.
Sir Barristan. Not a great fighter like him. Sir Barristan's considered one of the top 10 fighters of Westeros of all time. He is not one of those. He's a good fighter, but he's not as good as Barristan. And all those factors against him, he's not going to be the greatest in the fighting pits, especially since it's open to true people too. They don't have to be slaves, so that's why the fighting pits are there.
Okay.
So he's going to come up against people he can't fight. So, and I think he's okay. He's okay with forfeiting his life. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
you know, he's been.
It's all about the allegiance to her. That's
Correct.
all he cares about.
So we get back to where I stopped. He throws a spear. Dario kind of pushes Danny to the side, and we hit a son of the harpy standing back there like, what? What are these guys?
What was he doing back there?
And all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose in the freaking arena, and sons of harpies are harping all over the place.
They're everywhere.
They're jumping
They
out
are
of the walls,
everywhere.
through the windows. They're running out from under the fridge. I mean, there's sons of harpies just
For real.
going crazy.
They're like cockroaches.
Yes, and they are killing everybody off, and they're just fans, everything.
And let me say, when they first popped up, the I don't know if they were chanting or the noise or the sound that was happening right there. That was creepy.
Eerie, yeah.
That was creepy as all get out, because they have the masks and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little crazy. But the Unsullied and Dario are up there. They're fighting by her side. They don't suck, but OP. They are... they're outnumbered by a lot of people in close combat.
And so I made a note about that and said, where are the other 10,000 Unsullied?
They're guarding the city.
Yeah.
Well,
They're spread out.
They're all over the city.
If I were queen and I had 10,000 Unsullied, I'd say, hey, 1,000 of you come with me. 1,000 of you around the arena.
They should get jumped in the fighting pits where they're having these battles for
I would
the
have
fans.
1,000 of those some bitches around me all the time.
Well, she probably will now.
Well, yeah.
The point is, when you're
or at least
outnumbered,
watching for those masks. If you see these masks, come toward me.
Right. Did they not have, like, when I go to a football game or something, like, you know, I have to go to a thing and they do the metal scanning. Do they not have, like, security checkpoint?
Let me tell you guys this first off. There were like 10 Unsullied, and they were dropping harpies all over the place. Thank you very much.
Just think.
Number 2, she is at an
if they
event
had
during the
40.
day with all the people of her city having a good time. There's not going to be Unsullied all over the place, causing panic or making people nervous while they're there. This is a surprise attack, so they're not ready to fight at that
Listen,
moment.
all I'm saying is put a
You
few
guys, get off
put
your
a few
harpies.
Unsullied at the entrance to the arena and say, hey, let me check your pockets before you come in. Let me make sure you don't have any masks. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Sorry.
Jeez.
So anyways, we go from there. The Unsullied, everyone's fighting. Jorah comes up, helps out. She takes Jorah's hand, so she trusts him again because he had saved her life a couple times there. Everybody gets down from even Tyrion dropping a sucker. That was after
that's right.
Masandi.
Showed it.
Barely.
Getting some action.
He drops the guy. They get out of there. They're running for the gates. They're almost out. Door slams. Okay, crap. We'll go across the field, get to the other side. Well, that door gets slammed because here comes all the harpies. They're all out there.
All of them.
There are tons of them.
They came out of nowhere.
Yep. So they're all surrounding him. And actually, Dario and Jorah and the Sullied are doing a great job of holding them off for a little bit there, but they are just completely outnumbered. Just like Barristan getting outnumbered in that alleyway. There's just too many to fight.
But here's the thing with that, though, is if they really wanted Daenerys dead, they were and it's classic action movie where you've got one guy versus 1,000 guys, and it's always one guy at a time. Why do they not all just converge all at once? Because the only reason Dario and the Unsullied and Ser Jorah and everybody else, the only reason they were holding their own is because they were only having to take on one guy at a time, but they were surrounded.
It was at first, but if you're watching that whole video, there's more start coming in at a time. You see a couple of Unsullied go down, get killed. You're seeing Dario fighting here and fighting over here. He's having to use his dagger as well, not just a sword to fight them off. So they start getting jumped by more and more people. Yes, the first couple are going to come in by themselves, but it gets to a bigger fight. Danny is holding Masandi's hand. It's like, we're going down, but I'm going down without yelling or screaming. This is the end. This is not the end I wanted. I'm going down anyways. And what happens? Drogon comes out of the skies like a bullet and just starts eating people's faces off. Mm-hmm. And just goes off on these people.
You know, though, I will say that...
2 words from last week. Dragon fire.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I'll say is when she closed her eyes, I thought she was like summoning him.
Yeah. Well, she was doing her 10-second summon for a blind mount.
I think she was just coming to peace that she was about to die. I don't think
there was like a summoning
spell going off. It's on cooldown. I can't summon the dragon.
She was going like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they do rip off WoW, but according to Opie. But yeah, I thought she was summoning him because she is the mother of dragons. But when he jumped over the wall and she was surprised to see him,
well, here's the thing. You have a connection here too, and this goes back to Ancient Lore, but they say it at the end of the episode too. The Valerians and the Targaryens, they have a connection to the dragons that they own, where it's like they can sense the same thing.
Yeah.
So earlier in the season, you saw Drogon stop at the top of the castle. She tries to touch him. He flies off. Well, her heart is like completely everywhere. Her mind's everywhere. So the dragons aren't going to come to her because they need her to be set in what she's going to do, and then they'll finally start to fall, and then she can start training with her dragons. Now she's come to the moment where it's just like, I'm going to die, and I've come to terms with that, and here I am standing. This is the end of my time. He doesn't want her to die. First of all, it's his mother, but he comes to see her because her mind is at rest now, and he can now, work with her. So it's a connection between the two. Anyways, she gets on with some really bad green screen.
Yeah. I even wrote that down. I said, Dany riding the dragon was cheesy. I mean, was that not like a little cheesy? Like, I felt like I was watching the friggin' Never-Ending Story, and what's his name is riding Falcor.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right. It was kind of rough there. It's just like, it's TV-ish now. You did really good last week.
Yeah, they spent all their budget last week.
Right.
The thing is, though, yeah, they spent all their budget, and it is TV. It's like, but you have to put a CGI character with a real person now. How do we do that? Let's make it look as best as possible. Not so good. I didn't. You can tell really
wasn't
bad.
Blended good.
Yeah, that was very bad green.
Spend another day on it.
Right, and we finally get to see her whoosh, fly up into the sky. She's now dragon riding, which is her family.
On her flying mount.
Valerians, all of them are known for flying on dragons. That is what they are known for.
Which so shout out to our buddy Travis.
Yeah.
He and I were talking in chat. I think after last week's episode, and he even mentioned that how long do you think it'll be before we see Daenerys riding a dragon? And I was like, that's the dumbest thing ever. You really think they're gonna have Daenerys riding a freaking dragon? I mean, how dumb would that look in this? So
no,
sorry.
All right, so going back to Lord Dan.
Here we go.
Valerians, thousands of years ago, you could throw a rock and hit a dragon. They were everywhere. Thousands of dragons. They covered the world. They found bones of dragons in all of Westeros. They found them in Westeros, everywhere. Targaryens, one of the members get a vision of in 12 years, Valyria is going to fall. Targaryens move to Dragonstone. They get out of there. Everybody calls them traitors. They were a lesser family there, blah, blah, blah. They fall apart. 12 years later, everything's destroyed. You have the dragons over there. So this whole family is known for dragon flying. That's what everybody from Valyria is known for. Their look, first of all, the white hair and the purple eyes, but they don't do it in the show. But the same as this, dragon riding. So it was going to happen in this, no matter what. They finally got to that point. And I don't think it's jumping the shark. This is in the book. This is how it's supposed to happen. She starts to fly her dragon.
Yeah, I don't know, something about it was, and it's not even the production value of it or whatever, obviously it's TV, but I just thought, although I don't know why, because this show has freaking giants and smoke babies and dragons in it, but I just didn't think that a person riding a dragon kind of fit. But maybe it was just a means for her to escape. In that instance, it was just for a way for her to get out. But right. I thought
that was the only way she would get out alive.
Listen, it looks terrible. I thought it didn't look very good either, but that is in the book. She is a dragon rider.
Well,
she will ride dragons, and she'll probably ride them again later on.
That's the thing is, like, I was kind of okay with this because she was just trying to escape, and that's how she was getting out. When Travis and I were talking, I had this picture of like her actually riding a dragon like Harry Potter rides a broom, like like holding on to like being on a saddle and holding on to a thing and like, yeah, shoot him, no, shoot, that part to me doesn't fit. But if she was just trying to get out of the friggin' arena, then sure, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, she's escaping, and she's going to nurse him back to health because he's got 3 or 4 spears in him.
So, is he going to be okay?
Yeah, he's going to be fine.
Going back to your point, Matt, I understand you're fussy about the dragon riding. There's going to be more. You're going to have to get over that. She rides dragons, okay? So get over it. The Targaryens are known for flying dragons. That's what they do. That's how they conquered Westeros. They fly dragons.
Justin says that Khaleesi is the Amelia Earhart of dragon riding. And then Gino, she got a horn up her ass. Which I was thinking, too. It didn't even say during the episode. He's like, hey, she needs a better saddle.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that does not look comfortable. She needs to be careful because what if she like sold on, but then she slides? Yeah,
a lot of those spikes she used to get up there. She's sitting on.
You gotta be careful with that. I mean, I hope she's wearing a chastity belt.
You gotta remember the dragons. So Tygo comes in. He's like, he thought the dragons was pretty weak. It is. It's still a kid. The dragon's not that old. It's still growing.
Juvenile.
It's still a juvenile dragon, so it still has to grow a lot. And towards the end of the years of dragons being there anyways, they were all small proportion anyways because the Targaryens kept them at Harrenhal in this big pit kind of pen thing they had. Anyway, so what I wanted to get to was the point this is what I wanted to make at the beginning of the episode. So all through this series, everybody keeps telling Daenerys, you have to be like everybody else. You have to do it the way everybody else does it. You have to play the political game. You have to do everything the way everybody does it. You're going to marry a person from Marine. You're going to open the fighting pits. You're going to do all this stuff. And ever since she's been listening to all that crap about you have to do it that way, everything's going wrong. Nothing ever goes right. And I think it was said perfectly last episode when she says the Tyrells, the Lannisters, the Starks, the Baratheons, it's all a spoke on a wheel, and they keep spinning and going to the top because everybody plays the game. And I'm going to break the wheel. And her trump card is dragons. So in this episode, you finally see that it doesn't matter. She does not have to do anything anyone else has done because she can burn you to death. She has dragons. When her ancient brother, father, uncle, whatever, came to Westeros, him and his 2 sister wives burned Westeros to the ground with their 3 dragons, and that's how they took it over. They destroyed all the families. They let certain families show fealty, and they gave them lands and made them wards of certain areas and things like that. The Lannisters, the Starks, things like that. But they broke everybody's back. They destroyed it and started fresh. And that is kind of what Dany has to do. She cannot listen to everybody always saying the same thing. And they say it perfectly at the end of the episode too. Tyrion's face is like, this person is nobody I've ever met or dealt with.
I wrote
before.
that down.
And in last episode, he is like, oh, whatever, spokes on a wheel. Yeah. Everybody said that. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, crap. Yeah, you can break the spokes on the wheel because you don't have to do the crap that everybody else is doing because guess what? You have dragons. And everybody fears those. And that is one of the best moments. That's why I love the end of this episode is because it finally shows she does not have to do everything everybody tells her. She could just crush everybody if she wants to.
Yeah.
And make it her own.
I did. I wrote that exact quote down. So I don't think they show it on HBO, but we watched it on HBO Go so that we can watch it together. And there's always like a little, 5-minute behind the scenes thing at the end of it. And they mentioned Tyrion, and they said Tyrion has never seen a girl like this before.
Yeah.
And like you said, Dan, you can see it on his face. Tyrion's very wise. He's very worldly, well-traveled, well-spoken. He knows how to play the game. But in that moment, he's never seen anything like it. He doesn't know what to make of it. This is a whole new ball game for him.
Yeah.
And I love that. He's so intelligent and he's 10 steps ahead of everybody until now, and he's just realizing, wait a second, this is a game changer. This is something I've never encountered before.
It's so funny because everybody over there in Westeros is so worried about playing the political game.
Right.
When she comes over, she's going to change everything. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter what you guys are doing over there right now. It really doesn't matter that Roose Bolton is fighting Stannis and that down here in King's Landing, Cersei's in jail and Tommen's on the throne or whatever. It doesn't matter. Because when she gets over there with these dragons, she's going to put everybody in their place.
Well, and also, too, it doesn't matter, and this is something, we talked about this a little bit last week, but none of that matters either because you've got the freaking White Walker zombie army up north, and they're eventually going to come down, and I honestly think that none of that stuff is going to matter.
There's nothing in Westeros right now that matters to anybody.
Right.
Well, I mean, it matters to the people in Westeros. They don't understand what's about to happen to every one of them. They have White Walkers in massive droves marching on the wall, and if they can get through, the Westeros is going to fall straight from there. You have coming from Essos with dragons and Daenerys marching across the sea, the narrow sea, to come over here and destroy. They don't understand that the little political games they're playing at espionage means absolutely nothing to no one.
That's exactly right. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And that when we finally get to that point, I don't know what season it's going to be, but that's going to be some epic television right there. When Westeros finally realizes, oh crap, there is something much, much bigger that's been going on in the world besides our little battle for this silly Iron Throne back here.
Yep.
Right. That's where the S is going to hit the F.
Yep. You got to remember the wall. There's something with the wall that the White Walkers I don't think can get through yet, or there's something holding them back. Although the wall is becoming a major decay, and there's probably secret
something's going to happen at some point.
But when the wall was built, it was built a long time ago with magical properties and by the children of the forest that used to be in Westeros before the first men got there and all this stuff. There's all kinds of these magical properties which kind of hold the White Walkers back there. But there's going to be something that happens that's going to let them through is my guess. And that's going to just start that whole crash on the north, and then she's going to have to get over there as fast as possible and start killing things.
So let's so Justin over in the chat asked a question, and Tim, you answered it. So I want you to elaborate on this, and then I want to throw something out there too about the dragons. But Justin says, when will she, mean Dany, when will she gain control? When will she control her other dragons? Isn't the free one the alpha male? And then Tim, what did you?
Well, we all know that the dragons kind of lost respect for her when she was in turmoil and couldn't decide what direction she needed to go, and she was kind of mentally not stable, so they in turn weren't treating her like a mother. Right. She's not what they need right now. So as soon as she is has her direction, and she's more convicted in that, then I believe they will all three be right there with her.
Well, it talks about in the books too that for a while there, Dany doesn't have control of her dragons because she's in utter chaos because she doesn't know what to do, and then finally it just like clicks with her what she can do, and then that puts things in line so she can actually train with her dragons. So she has to start training with them as well, but they don't accept her yet until she finally like takes that initiative and be like, I am this is what I'm going to be, this is who I am, and then the dragon's like, all right, we're here, do what you got to do.
So I wonder if she's going to let the other two out now.
Maybe next season, or I don't know if it'll happen in episode 10. I doubt. I'd say we've hit the end of Dany's story in this season. I think that was the big climactic end of that.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know because
in
the preview for next week we do see Jorah, Dario, and Tyrion back at the palace, but I don't think we see Dany.
Well, see, here's the thing. Last week we had the White Walker War there. That gets done. I think that was the Night's Watch kind of ending thing there. But you got a little bit of it again in this episode, just a little snippet. I think that might be the same for Dany in the next episode. They'll do a little bit of clips from Marine and then go back to another story they're building on. Because it looks like they may focus a lot on Cersei down in King's Landing for what I saw from the preview. So, and it did have a lot of Night's Watch stuff in the preview for next episode too. So there's some things that are building that may happen, may not happen. I don't know, but I'm pumped for the final episode of the season to see what's going to finish.
Well, so let me throw out a question, and we talked about it last week too about the giant White Walker army and then the dragons and if they clash, whatever. So let me ask you this. The White Walker.
Sorry, Gino just made a funny comment. That's so true.
She's not a virgin riding a dragon.
Well, that's like Tina said. She basically knows they basically know when she's PMSing.
Right.
So they know, get away from the Khaleesi.
Yeah, that's that time. So basically, let me ask you this: the White Walker army is huge, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so Dany's only got 3 dragons. We only saw one of them, and I think I even asked before, maybe I was talking to Travis about it, but the one dragon was having trouble with a couple dozen Sons of the Harpy.
Again, it's a juvenile.
Thanks. Yes, it's only been like a year or two she's had them. It's a juvenile. They are still growing. They have a long way to go.
By the time they have to fight the army of the dead, they're going to be ready. They're going to be big. They're going to be able to handle.
So that's my question. Is I'm just not quite sold that only 3 dragons can take out the entire White Walker army.
Well, show me the Air Force of the White Walkers, and then we'll talk.
Right. Listen, you say that though. You say that.
That's the key. That's the key.
No, but you
they
say
can
that.
Fly and
I think
fire
and I think we talked about it last week. You said, they can fly but the dragon this time he didn't. I thought he was going to fly around the arena and just burn everybody. But the minute he flew over that wall, he landed, and that's when he started getting hit with spears.
Because he had to pick her up, and
he could have.
He could have. Yeah, he could have stayed up in the air and burned him down. All right, so bring up another story. History time with Dan. Woo!
Hang on, wait, okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right, you ready, Matt? Okay, good. So when Aegon's conquering the land of Westeros, he comes to Harrenhal, and the Lord of Harrenhal's like, no, I'm not letting you in. You're not going to be able to get in. He's like, you need to surrender to me, or I'll let your sons rule, and you'll have your lands. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, you're not getting in. My castle's made of stone. And he told him, he's like, if you do not come out by the end of the night, your line ends here. You will not have any family left. And so the king, or this lord, like built giant walls made completely of stone, had spearmen, had the trebuchets, had archers all on the walls, was going to give gold to the person who brought the dragon down. And what does Aegon do? He flies all the way up in the clouds, way above them. They don't even see him, and just blows fire straight into the castle to where all they heard was screams of men melting in their armor. And it burning so hot that it melted rock on the inside.
We saw that, right?
And that's why it's haunted. No.
No.
You've seen Harrenhal.
Yeah, we saw the remains.
Yes. So that's Harrenhal. That's the one that's supposedly haunted because the shadows of the night that burned in that fortress that night. He decimated that family just with dragon's breath. And that's people that were prepared to fight a dragon, and he just flew up and burned the entire innards of that city. And so it's gone, it's dead. So it's the same thing with the White Walkers. It's like, yeah, she has 3 dragons, but 3 dragons kind of sway a little bit. When Aegon conquered the Westeros, it was him and his 2 sister wives, and they were the only 3 that had dragons. And they conquered all 7 kingdoms, well, except for Dorne. Conquered everything with 3 dragons. So you make fun of 3 dragons. I say 3 dragons are enough.
I'm not listening. Those dragons are a force to be reckoned with. I'm just saying. I just wonder how
tonight was not a full demolition of their full grown potential.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just wonder how well 3 dragons are they. Maybe it'll take out most of the White Walker army. I don't know, but it's just 3. I don't know. I think it's a long way. We're a long way off before we get there. I kind of think I think it has to go in that direction. There's no way that you can have a White Walker army and dragons and them never meet up in a giant battle. I mean, I think it's got to go there at some point. But
yeah,
I'm just curious about how it's all gonna go down.
Yeah. Yep. So it'll be interesting to see.
Exciting stuff to come.
Yep, it'll be really cool. So guys, that is the end of the episode. By the way, there is a great YouTube video area on here. It's by I think her name is Rawrist, Rawrist. She has read, there's a new book out by a group that does the history and stories of Westeros, of Game of Thrones, and it kind of tells everything from the Valerians all the way up through a Game of Thrones and things like that, and kind of builds out the world. Kind of like is it the Silmarillion, or what's the name of the book with Lord of the Rings? I don't know if you guys know this. What's the name of the book?
Sorry, don't.
There's a book that goes with Lord of the Rings that tells a lot more of the lore of the Lord of the Rings world in Middle Earth. But anyways, so there's a book out.
It's Wikipedia, I think is the name of it.
That's the name of it. That was the book. Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Wikipedia. Anyway, so there is a book out, same as Game of Thrones, that kind of fleshes out the world. This person does a video and
Unfinished Tales.
Right. There is
Seriously.
What?
Unfinished Tales.
I think it's like something history and something, dude.
Okay, Unfinished Tales is the lost lore of the Middle Earth.
Oh, okay. I've heard somebody call it something else.
Okay.
Trevor's the one to ask. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that could be it too. Anyways, so Rawrist is the channel. She does a ton of the lore of Westeros and of Game of Thrones and everything, all the way through all the kings and through Egg and Dunk and a bunch of other stories all about this stuff. If you guys are interested in that, go check it out. It's really, really good. So, anyways, that is the end of our episode. We thank you for watching. Tim, thank you for being on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Tina Marie says, "Do you think John's going to die next episode?" Tina, that's blaspheme. That is blasphemy. Jon Snow will never die ever.
Yeah, right.
So we don't even joke about that here in this channel, ever.
No one is safe in the Game of Thrones.
You shut your mouth, Tim. If you ever want to come back, you shut your mouth.
Tina, don't say anything. Some of these guys haven't read the books. Anyways,
you should have, Dan. You should.
We're gonna leave the episode at that, and we thank you for watching, guys. We'll be back next week for the final episode. We appreciate you watching.
Final episode.
Comment on the videos. Let us know if there's something you want to do after this, because we enjoy doing this, and we're glad you guys are here and you enjoy it as well. Find us on twitch.tv/nerdpunch, of course, youtube.com/nerdpunch, Twitter @nerdpunch, anywhere a Nerd Punch can be found. We are going to jump on our dragons and get out of here now. So we thank you for watching. We're gone. See you later.
See you guys.
See ya. Thanks.